only a replica, right? Yeah, right.
All right, guys, we are joined by the national champion, Cornell Big Red, Connor Busick, head coach, CJ Kirst, senior attackman, senior goalkeeper Wyatt Nust, and sophomore attackman Ryan Goldstein. Today is the fourth title for Cornell. It is the sixth team title in school history and the first in both categories since 1977. It also ties them with Maryland for sixth all-time with that fourth title. We'll start things with an opening statement for Coach.
Tough to put into words. So incredibly proud of this group. They had a mission, they had a goal, and every single day they showed up to work. They didn't know when the margins were going to change. They didn't know what day it was that helped to separate, but they were a resilient group. They were a tough group. They led one another. The ownership was from within, and when you got a team that does that with as many leaders as we have on this team, the ceiling's really incredibly high. And so for these guys to achieve this goal, to bring a title back to Cornell for the first time in 48 years, I simply don't have the words for it, but I'm so proud as an alum, as a guy that gets to work with them every single day. They've earned everything that they've gotten, and I'm really glad we get to enjoy this moment together.
Start with questions for the student athletes. Come up front.
This one's for CJ, Zach Wolf from the Daily Orange. CJ, I saw you, I'm sure you've played this out in your head in terms of hoisting that trophy, running to the Cornell fans at the end of the game. Now that you've experienced that moment, just what was that like as you're hoisting that trophy, and is it better than you could have even imagined?
It was special. This season has been incredible. Like Coach said, this has been our dream. When you walk out there for warm-ups and you see that sea of red, you see all the alums that you played with, that support us every single day, our families who, have put in all the work from when we were little kids to be on this stage, to have that moment to grab the trophy, run over there, it was special. And, obviously one I'll never forget, but, one I've been dreaming about for a while. And, no words that can really describe that feeling, but it was definitely special.
We'll stay up front.
Cooper Rangers with the Daily Orange. CJ, Wyatt, you guys being seniors, just trying to go out and avenge that 2022 national title loss. Just what is it like? What was the road like for you guys to try to get back to this point, and how did it bring you guys closer together, especially going up against a team like Maryland again and exacting that revenge?
It was cool to finish the way that you kind of started your career, getting to face off against Maryland in the national championship. Throughout our careers, we've had a lot of ups and downs. Obviously, we had the high of going to the national championship our freshman year, and then sophomore year, end up going out in the first round, probably with just as good a team as we had the year before. Junior year, don't make the tournament. And then we really used that as fuel for this year, and just showed up to work every single day, extremely focused, and just focused on this one goal, and we made it happen.
Let's go to Newsday, and then we'll go over to the side.
Hi, Tom Rock from Newsday. Ryan, it took 2 generations of Goldsteins to get this trophy back to Ithaca. What does this mean for you and your family?
It's been great. I've been going to Final Fours for as long as I can remember. My family's my mom and dad both played lacrosse at Cornell, so my dad lost 2 national championships, so he was definitely fired up for this one. How special it meant to be. It hasn't really hit me yet, but I'm sure it will soon. It's a really special moment. I'm happy to do it with this group of guys. It's been awesome.
First off, congratulations. Hi, Jill Schumacher, Newhouse Sports Media Center. When I pulled in today, I looked to my right in my car, and the sea of red that I saw, I audibly went, oh my, it was crazy. What does it mean to you to have that fan base and just from a grow the game mentality and how lacrosse is just growing as a sport for any of you?
Yeah, they're the best. I kind of spoke to the team last night about that moment where, you drive by that tailgate, like you said, on the bus with a police escort, and you're seeing everyone that supported you, and it's brought tears to a couple guys, and, guys were feeling chills, and, just to have that support when you're playing on the biggest stage is incredible, and it definitely motivates you. But, to grow the game, I mean, you see that crowd, you see that support. I know everyone was so excited to give everything they got, and, we competed for 60 minutes because of everyone there. So, wouldn't have been able to do it without everyone up there.
I got 1 point to add on to that. I think that, and I might look like that's today, but that's every single game. They're there every single game. They're texting us every single game day. A couple of moms, I got a shout out. They're always texting CJ and I, Todd Adler, Mike Levine, Rob Pinnell is always texting us. Those guys and so many more care so much about this program. And I know you said that it comes from our culture. We talk about it all the time, and you see that today, but it's every single day. We think about those guys, and we play for those guys.
Good eye, Al.
CJ, Ryan, McInerney, Inside Lacrosse. Coach Tillman said, CJ is the player of the year this year, and, Ryan might be the player of the year next year or, the rest of his career. So just kind of the two of you guys, how have you made each other better? And CJ, what do you see kind of the future for Ryan Goldstein here?
Yeah, that's an incredible question. Having the opportunity to play with Rye for 2 years has been incredible. And, I've said this before, but he's just a fearless competitor. He brings everything he has every single day. He's the biggest lax rat I know, watches every single game you could ever imagine, every single highlight tape, he's in there, and, that's just who he is. Lacrosse is a part of him, and that's the reason why he's so dedicated and the reason why he's on this stage succeeding, because he's put in all the work, all the hours, and, and the future is bright for Ryan. I know he's going to be player of the year. I know he's going to have it all, and he's got 2 years to go prove it. And I can't wait. And he's got the program now, and I'm excited to see where that goes.
Hello, Cornell Daily Sun. This is really for all the student athletes. This team is one that's really thrived off of these long scoring runs and building up momentum, but today's game was a true back and forth match. How do you keep your composure when there's so much on the line and you're playing such an overwhelming team?
We try to have that same intensity and focus every single day throughout the year, no matter what we're doing, whether it's a lift, a practice, a scrimmage, or a game. And just having those intensity for the little moments like that helps us prepare for the big stages like today. And just like Saturday, I would say that no one ever had any doubt. Everyone believed the whole entire way, and that focus got us to where we needed to be. And just really proud of this group.
Hey guys, Kenny Dijon from USA Lacrosse. CJ, I'm curious, to you, what does it mean to be a Cornell man, and how does Coach Busick and the rest of the coaching staff embody that, enforce that, support that?
Yeah, when you step on foot on campus, you hear about the culture. When you're recruited, they talk about the experience that you're going to go through and how it's going to be challenging. Nothing's going to be given to you, and you got to earn everything. And when I first started and had COVID going on, I wasn't really fully bought in the program. I wasn't experiencing everything, and in that 2022 season, I learned everything from Coach Busick, all the whole coaching staff, and that senior class, what it meant to show up every single day, to put the group in front of you, to put a smile on your face during the hard times, to listen to Coach Halley and what he has to say after a lift, to listen to all the alumni and all the motivation that they give you every single game day. And it's a special program, and you can't really describe the culture that we have unless you're a part of it. But, my 4 years here and being able to put on the jersey the last time today, I'm super, super proud of what I've been able to experience. And, I speak on behalf of the entire senior class. We try doing everything we can to instill that into the younger guys. And, I have Coach Busick and Coach Stevens, Coach Ferry to thank for that. And, super happy that, being a Cornell man is going to continue for the rest of my life, and I'm so happy that we're able to, bring it home for all the alumni who've taught us everything.
Nick Karski from ESPN Ithaca. Wyatt, you mentioned some of the ups and downs, and last year there were some downs for you. So for you to have this moment as a national championship goalie, what does it mean to you?
It's the coolest thing I've ever done in my life. And, throughout my career, been battling through the ups and downs, and just try to stay as level as possible. And I'm so grateful for the coaches and the other players for believing in me. we all believe in each other so much. And as I mentioned earlier, throughout this season, we've been in some tough positions, and there's never been any doubt. And this group is a really special one, and it showed this entire year.
Come back to the DO.
CJ, the last time Cornell won it all, its top attack was the legendary Eamon McEnany. Just what does Eamon's legacy mean to both you and this program?
Yeah, Eamon's someone that, I've thought about a lot while we entered the playoffs, where you think about the numbers 21 and 10, George Boyardi as well, where, that's what we talk about. It's what you learn when you're a freshman here. You learn that they're the best teammates ever. There's someone who always put a smile on someone else's face inside the locker room, and they're fearless competitors. And, to be able to touch that sign every single day and be a part of that tradition that we talk about, it's incredible. And, I know Ryan, Mike Long as well. You dream about those attackmen, Mike French, Rob Pinnell, all the people who've put on the jersey, and, to be able to hug Mike French after the semifinal game and to get some motivational words from Eamon's teammate, you just want to do it for them. And, special feeling and super happy that we were able to get it done.
We'll do two more on the third row.
Hi guys, Brett Abrams for the Star-Gazette. CJ, can you kind of just talk me through what you saw differently in the second half compared to the first? Was it more of like a mentality thing, or did you just see something in the defense that you liked?
Yeah, I think with a quick turnaround from playing Saturday and competing today, there's not much scout that goes into it. It's just all confidence and belief in your group. And, in the second half, we were all talking that, we just had to play our game, that, we had to draw slides, and if they didn't, we were able to put the ball in the back of the net. And that's kind of the mentality that all of us were talking about. And, Coach Busick pulled me aside before the second quarter and was like, play your game, have some confidence, have the belief that, you're going to run hard and you're going to get it done. And, with that little word of wisdom, I was able to do it. And, I have my teammates to thank because they had my back this whole run. And, it was just a great day for the Big Red and a great day for that group of offense.
One more up front.
Patrick Steams for Lacrosse Magazine. This one's for Wyatt, if you can see me through around the trophy there. They got within 10-9 there in the fourth quarter. You guys had two stops there. Just kind of talk me through certainly the first one and just how important you think those two possessions were in securing that thing.
Yeah, our defense stepped up huge, and I would say we brought it in after they scored those two goals in the fourth, and just knew that we needed to up our communication, play more aggressive, get out, get on their hands. And I think we really brought it to them for those final possessions. Brendan Staub came up huge in the middle of the field with some tough ground balls, giving our offense extra possessions. But I would say just a heightened sense of urgency, and everybody on that defense stepped up and was able to get those stops that we needed.
We have questions for Coach.
Tyler Locke, TWMC. First of all, Coach, congrats. Second of all, what did you see from your team in the fight on the ground ball battle today, and how important was that in securing that trophy?
Massive. That's the difference. Possession is this game, and the ones that bounce around out there, the ability to finish possessions on your defensive end, your ability to earn second opportunities on the offensive end, make the difference against a great team. And so we preach it every day. It's Cornell lacrosse. People ask me every game, what's the difference? It's going to be ground balls. It's our ability to pick up the ball off the turf. And so we preach it every day in practice. We talk about it being the Cornell lacrosse way, and today they made the Cornell lacrosse tradition proud with their ground ball effort.
Thank you. Connor, we're talking a lot about tradition and history here, obviously with the nature of the program. What would Richie Moran say about this team?
Say it's great to be here. The cool part about Richie is until his final days, he was always around. He was the conduit, and he was the connector, and he was the guy that, he didn't just ride off into the sunset. He kept giving back to Cornell lacrosse. He kept making sure that the culture was strong, the family was strong, and those, terms get overused at times in sports, and he created that. And so I know he's looking down on a smile, and, he did so much for me as a player, as a young coach. For our older guys, they had the opportunity to meet him during that 22 season, and he's just a special man that left an incredible legacy, and we're fortunate to be upholding that legacy day in and day out.
Come down front.
Trevor House with the Boston Globe. You've talked about the 2022 season a lot. Can you just describe the full circle nature of this and how surreal it is to be at the same team in the same situation? Did you guys talk about it much, or did you not really have to?
We didn't talk about it a whole lot. We talked about the opportunity to be back in this moment and how we can draw off that experience, and just, the short turnaround Saturday to Monday, the playoff run, how, lacrosse changes when you get to do or die moments, and the ability to just stay the course and be resilient and be tough. And again, nothing different, but it's a little different when you know that, you exit stage left if you lose. And so for our guys, for our older guys, the guys that had played in that, it was great to draw off that experience to, maybe add a little motivation of being here and not getting over that hump. But for the most part, a lot of fresh faces on this team, but utilizing all the experiences, the good, the bad, the opportunity to play in the national championship, the stinging loss of not making the tournament last year. I think all of those, experiences really drove us forward and created the team that we had this year.
We'll go 2 questions up front, the DO, and then off to the right.
Coach Zach Wolf from the Daily Orange. CJ talked about you pulling him aside before that second quarter. How did you see him, respond, especially in that second half, and what did you see, differently from him in that second half?
Yeah, he came down the alley on the one, and I saw him clutch the shot a couple times, and not frequently do I see him with an opportunity with his left hand free, clutch the shot, and so wanted to let him know he's the best player in the country. We trust him to do everything, and it doesn't have to be perfect, but, we know the effort we get from him, and so just want to let him know we've all got his back. Go make the play. Go put yourself out there, and, was glad to see him get going. He's a difference maker. He is the best player in the country, and it's not always the points, it's not always the goals, it's not always the assists. It's how hard he competes. It's how much he gets out of his teammates. It's how well liked he is because of the respect he's earned within that room. And so when he gets going, we're a different team, and he found it in the biggest moment at the biggest time and pushed us over the hump and earned this national championship for our team.
Wayne Viner, Terp Talk. Saw you have a warm conversation with John Tillman when it was all over. What is your relationship with Tills?
Coach Till's the best, just in terms of what we do as a profession. He's the best there is. He works his tail off. He works relentlessly. That team, year in and year out, is the standard for what it means to be successful in our sport. And on top of that, him being a Cornell alum, him being a guy that is a good friend, mentor, confidant, that always has looked out for myself, our staff, especially as young guys in this business, have always had a ton of respect and a ton of appreciation for how he's looked out for us and taken great care of us. And so I really appreciate Coach Tills. He's as good as they come. He's got that team ready, and when you play the Terps, you're going to get a heck of an effort, and you better be near flawless to beat that team. And so a lot of respect for what they do and how they compete day in and day out.
Come back to Lacrosse Magazine, and then we'll come back over here to the left.
Connor, there's only so many teams out there that get the combination of ability and incentive that you guys have, and then to tack on being able to maintain that throughout the season. What's kind of your appreciation of that process and the ability of this group to be able to put all of that stuff together over the course of the last 12 months?
Sure. Again, I spoke about this on Saturday, but just to reiterate, when you have great leadership within your locker room, when you have not just CJ Kirst, not just Wyatt and us, not just our captains, when you have guys that are bought in, top to bottom, 16-person senior class, and those guys are holding the line, those guys are enforcing the standard, those guys are demanding a lot of their teammates, it makes a different team. Right? When every guy only has to impact 2 or 3 guys and you're through your whole roster, it makes you a dangerous team. Everybody's held to task, everybody's demanded, but well done is better than well said. And so for every one of those guys, if they're not doing it themselves, they can't hold anybody else to that standard. And so again, that is a Cornell lacrosse tradition thing. That is a culture thing. That is something that we didn't build, but we're very fortunate that when you get the right collection of people that really demand and push and encourage and get a lot out of their teammates, our job's really easy. We don't coach effort. We don't demand that these guys meet that standard as much as they do it for themselves. And then when things aren't great, we hold the seniors accountable, we hold the leadership accountable, and so it makes my job a heck of a lot easier. Rather than me trying to make sure that I am finding the right buttons to push with 50-some guys, they're able to do that, and I can find the right buttons to push with, 15.
Coach Chamberlain Body with Finger Lakes 1. Just what does it mean for you? Does it mean a little bit more, and what does it say about Cornell when this whole weekend, whenever you walk out there for a game, you've got a Cornell man in the box on the opposite sideline?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I think this place is very endearing. It's a lot of the reason why I'm in the profession that I am. I'm sure it's a big reason that he's in the profession that he is. This place changes you, and for the better. And it's not because it's easy, and it's not that it's all, rainbows and butterflies. It's because it challenges you and it asks a lot of you. And through all of that, when you can kind of, see the forest through the trees, you can appreciate every moment. You can appreciate what this game does as the medium to connect with young men, to lead in a certain way, and to push guys to be their very best. And that's on the field, that's off the field, that's what they do for the rest of their lives. And so I'm sure Coach Moran had that impact on Coach Tillman. I know the coaches that I played for had that impact on me. This program changes you for the better, and we're just fortunate to continue to live the dream every single day.
Terry? Then we'll do one more after that.
Terry Foy inside lacrosse. Connor, a cursory glance suggests that you're the first coach not from New York, Maryland, or Virginia to win a national championship. How do you describe representing your background?
Thanks for the question from an Ohio guy himself. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I think it's a huge plus for the grow the game side. Again, obviously, my family has ties to upstate New York, and that was a big part of my upbringing was their connection and their background with it. But to see the way the game's grown in a place like Ohio, and seeing it in Cleveland, seeing it in Cincinnati, and the way it's really taken off. There was a point in time there that there were no summer teams. There were very few club teams. When I first played, my first game as a second grade lacrosse player was with the sixth grade team because there just weren't enough teams and there weren't enough players. And now at every age group, there's so many teams, there's so many people, there's so many conduits for this game to continue to grow in non-hotbed areas. And so it's cool to wear that mantle, and it's cool to push that thing forward. And for us, it's about continuing to give back and making sure that a lot of those underserved areas and areas that don't have maybe as much coaching or as many players that go back, that we keep pushing that forward and keep growing this thing to hopefully get it to the level that we all want it to be.
Last question up top.
Obviously, this is a team with a lot of incredible star power, but what did it mean to you today to see those first two goals coming from, the second midfield line and seeing those guys step up in the highest pressure game of the season?
It's awesome. That second midfield for us this year has been a collection of different faces, and we've dealt with some different injuries and different guys that we've had to find opportunity for, and they've done nothing but step up and get better every single day. Our motto is a relentless commitment to improvement, and those guys have embodied it on the biggest stage, got us going, and I believe it was the first two goals, if I'm not mistaken. And so proud of those guys. They work so hard day in, day out, and they play with great confidence, and that comes from guys like CJ and Ryan and Mike, continuing to push those guys to be better and let them know that they're doing a great job. And so proud. Those guys did an excellent job, and we talk about everybody's got a job to do. We need every guy in that room together doing their job, and if we collectively do that, we're going to be successful as a team. And those guys were a huge part of starting us up on the offensive end and taking some very meaningful shifts, and even if the ball was in the back of the net, doing the little things to make sure that we weren't giving away an easy one in transition.
Gentlemen, thank you. Congratulations again.
Thanks, guys.